team, I hope you're all well. Today we are going to be doing an anniversary video. It is my 6-year BookTube anniversary today, the day that this video is going up, and I cannot believe I've been on YouTube for 6 years. That is wild. I don't know where the time has gone. It has been a very chaotic 6 years, actually. I have gone through many a transition, both personally and professionally. I have quit my corporate daytime job to do this full time, and it was an incredible decision, quite frankly. I have made some incredible friends on BookTube that I am forever grateful for, and really hope they will be lifelong, forever and a day friends that I love with the whole of my heart. And I've just had an absolute blast being on here talking about books with all of you and making new friends and connections and things like that, and I just have the best time on here. So for 6-year anniversary, I wanted to do something special and exciting. And a few months ago, Gavin, one of my dear friends that I've made on here, did a 5-year YouTube anniversary video, and I absolutely loved it, where he read a popular book from each of the years that he's been on BookTube. So I was like, I fucking love this idea. This video is great and I am obsessed with it. I want to kind of roll with that, but how can I do this, a similar concept, but make it my own? So I messaged him, double checked with him that he was okay with me essentially stealing his idea. And before he came back to me, I was like, oh, maybe I could reread my favourites from each of the year that I've been on here. So it would be from 2018 to 2023. Maybe I could reread my favourites. And then I went through my favourites from each of the years, and I was like, I don't think that this is going to quite work out so well, because there will be like sequels, or there will be books that I've no interest in rereading anymore. And then obviously last year's book was a book that I have only very recently read, and it was too soon for me to do a reread. So there was the mental gymnastics I went through to get to the point that I did of actually starting to film this video was crazy. So anyway, I went to my patrons with questions about it, and Gavin was in the chat, and he had replied to me to say, yeah, love it, go for it. I'm really happy for you to go ahead and do the video. So I was then asking my patrons, have you got any ideas of how I can adapt this concept that Gavin's done? Because I could just read popular books that were, you know, books that were popular in each of the years, like the next popular book that I haven't yet read, because I'd read quite a few of them. Or I could reread my favourites. And Gavin went, why don't you pit them up against each other? So get your favourites from each of the years and pit them up against a popular book from that year that you haven't yet read. And I was like, this is fucking brilliant. So we have a competition now between rereads and a new book, and I'm going to go through the whole process with you of how I picked the rereads, because I couldn't pick each reread, like favourite read from the year, because it was a sequel or something that I no longer owned, or I didn't have any interest in reading, like rereading anymore. So I couldn't pick those. And then we're going to go through the process of finding out what books they're going to go up against, and then you're going to see how it all came about, and then I'm going to read the books. So yeah, you're either going to get a bunch of rereads, a bunch of new books, or a combination of the two. And this video is going to be chaotic. I already know that. I am still partway through filming this video, and I'm here to redo the introduction, but I am partway through filming it, and it's chaos personified, honestly. I don't know how this is going to come out. I'm a little bit anxious, in all honesty. But huge shout out to Gavin for his assistance with this. A, for letting me steal the idea, and B, for helping me adapt the idea to something that will end up being the chaos that this video is. And shout out to all of you for being here. At whatever point you came in, whether you've been here since day one, whether you came in partway through, whether you're a new subscriber, at whatever point you've come in, shout out to you for keeping me going, because I do this for you guys. I do it because I love to do it for myself, but I do it for you as well because I enjoy having a chin wag. I can never shut up. And you seem to consistently be here to listen to my rambles. So I love you for that, and I couldn't do this as a job if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for being here and helping me be able to do that. I'm so grateful to have 6 wonderful years on here. I will be continuing. Obviously, it sounds like I'm going somewhere. I'm not. I will be continuing. And yeah, I'm truly grateful for all of you. And I hope you enjoy this video. It is going to be fucking chaotic. So buckle up. But let's get into finding out what the rereads are going to be. And then the video will continue on from there. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so before we get into looking at what was popular on Goodreads for each of the years, here is a quick graphic to show you the top 5s for each year. There is a lot going on here, let me tell you. We're going to very quickly just go through this and run down and pick the 6 books that we're going to be picking, 1 for each year. This isn't as clear cut as just picking the #1 book. So there are a couple that I'm 100% okay with, and those are Sadie, Addie LaRue, Still Beating, and Fourth Wing. So the only 2 that were a little bit questionable on are 2019 and 2021. And there are reasons for this. So the first thing I'm actually going to do with 2021 and 2019 is eliminate any sequels, because we are not doing sequels here. It makes no sense for me to pick up the 2nd or the 3rd book in a series. So let's do that very quickly. We have gotten rid of Night Shadow, which is the #1 book for 2021. And then I Heart Hawaii, Gemina, and A Court of Mist and Fury in 2019. You will notice that A Curse So Dark and Lonely is still here. You will notice I have not circled this as being okay with this book. I don't want to reread A Curse So Dark and Lonely. This benefits literally nobody on the planet, because I've reread it twice already and I've still DNF'd the series. I no longer own the books. It benefits no one for me to reread the series, so I really don't want to do it. Which then means that Stalking Jack the Ripper is the book for 2019, but then 2021... I don't want to reread It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover again. I have read this book a couple times, at least twice, if not 3 times now, and I'm not in the mood to reread it again. So our next pick for that is The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. We're not going to look at Traitor's Blade or You and Me on Vacation because they're further down. Our next look-see here is The Nature of Witches. So this then ends up being our final board. So for 2018 we've got Sadie by Courtney Summers. For 2019 we've got Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerry Maniscalco. For 2020 we've got The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. 2021 we've got The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. 2022 we've got Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman, and 2023 we've got Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So we will now go into what was popular in each of those years and find a book to buddy that up with for a little bit of a battle off. Let's go. Okay, hey, I've probably already explained how this video is going to go at the beginning, but we are now going to look at the most popular books in each year and go to the next one that I haven't read that I physically own. Now, I don't want to do non-fiction just off the bat. I don't want to do any non-fiction, and I have to own the book. So even if it's something that I used to own that I don't own anymore, I have to own the book, physically own it, in order for me to read. And then we will pit up the reread and a new read from that year against each other, take them to a poll and see what the results are. So let's have a look. We are currently, I need to do a scooch over so that y'all can see this. Okay, we are currently on 2024, so let's go to 2018. I wanted to start on 2024 so that we couldn't initially see what was on there. So the first book is Where the Crawdad Sings by Delia Owens. I don't own it. I have no interest in reading that book. I've read Verity, The Cruel Prince. Educated by Tara Westover I own, but I don't want to do non-fiction, so no. Normal People, no interest in that book. Circe, no. Atomic Habits, no. Becoming, non-fiction. I used to own it, I don't anymore. Court, Frost and Starlight I've read. The Great Alone, no. Tattooist of Auschwitz I've read. Okay, Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I haven't read yet. It's been on at least one TBR this year, if not two. And I do want to get to it. I think it might be on my 12 books in 12 priority as well for this year, on 24 books in 24, maybe. So that will be my 2018 pick. Okay, 2019. Ooh, starting off strong with The Silent Patient. I have read that one. Daisy Jones and the Six, I have also read. Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I have read. Red, White and Royal Blue, I have read. On Honeymooners, I have read. Regretting You, I used to own, and I don't own it anymore. So that was out. Veto. The Wicked King, I've read. Queen of Nothing, I've read. Such a Fun Age, I don't own. Ninth House, I have read. On Earth, We Are Briefly Gorgeous, I don't own that one. Talking to Strangers, no. Pride of the Orange Tree, I've DNF'd. Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. The Giver of Stars, no. Oh god, we've got to click more books. Where are we? Number 15. The Dutch House, no. Family Upstairs, I don't own. I've got another Lisa Jewell book, but I don't think that's it. No, Then She Was Gone is the other Lisa Jewell book I've got. Anxious People, I own. I don't think that this is non-fiction, so I think we will go for Anxious People. I do have that one, so we will go for that one for 2019. All right, 2020. The Midnight Library, I used to own. I don't own that anymore. Beach Read, I have read. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is the book that it's pitted against. I have read that one, obviously. The Inheritance Games, I've read. House of Earth and Blood, I have read. The Vanishing Half, I don't own. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, no. From Blood and Ash, I've read. The Guest List, I have read. House in the Cerulean Sea, I have read. The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose, I don't own. I would be interested in reading that one though. In 5 Years, I've read Heartbones by Coho and Layla. Layla's on my 24 books in 2024. But I also own Heartbones. So we're going to go up against Heartbones by Coho for 2020. 2021. Ooh, The Love Hypothesis. I have read that one. People Will Meet on Vacation. A Court of Silver Flames. Read it. Malibu Rising. Nope, I don't own it though either. Twisted Love, I've read. Last Thing You Told Me by Laura Dave. I haven't read that one, but I do have Laura Dave's new book that is coming out this year in the US, next year in the UK. Spanish Love Deception, I've no interest. I've definitely DNF'd that before. I don't know why it says want to read on it. It Happened One Summer, I've read. Haunting Adeline, nope. I am so intrigued by that book, but I refuse to read it because I know that it is a stalker romance, and stalking is a trigger for me, so I can't read it. Project Hail Mary, I've read. Twisted Games, I've read. The Four Winds, nope. Crying in H-Mart, no. Once Upon a Broken Heart, absolutely not. Better Than the Movies, no. Oh, show more books. Oh, Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I do own that one. Yes, I do. So Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney for, where are we? 2021. Okay. So 2022. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Read that one. Okay, It Starts With Us by Coho. Now, my problem with this is that I already have a Coho on here and I don't want to run the risk of reading two Cohos. So I'm not going to put It Starts With Us on here because I don't think that's fair. So we're not going to do that one. Reminders of Him. I don't even own anymore. I unhauled that one, and again it's Coho. Book Lovers by Emily Henry, I've read. Tomorrow, Tomorrow and Tomorrow, I've DNF'd. Lessons in Chemistry, no. Things We Never Got Over, I've read. I'm Glad My Mum Died, I've read. Icebreaker. been meaning to read this since it came out, and I haven't read it yet. So that can go on. We will put that one on. That is the competition for 2022. And then last but by no means least, 2023. I am a little bit nervous about this one. Alright, obviously Fourth Wing, naturally. And then Happy Place. I've read both of those offs. Iron Flame. Listen, there is no fucking way I'm pitting Fourth Wing and Iron Flame against each other. No, it's not happening. No. No, because I haven't finished Iron Flame yet. I will come back to it, but I haven't finished it yet. I'm doing a buddy read with my patrons for the end of the year. So I will come back to it, but I'm not doing it for this one. The Housemaid's Secret. I don't want to put a sequel on here. Again, I've already mentioned at the beginning of this video, we're not doing sequels. So again, Iron Flame wouldn't work for that anyway. So we're not doing sequels. The Housemaid's Secret, although I haven't read it yet, it's not going on as competition. None of This Is True I've read. Divine Rivals I have read. Powerless I have read. Things We Hide from the Light I've read. Hello Beautiful, no. Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I haven't read that yet. That's got my competition for Fourth Wing. Oh shit. That's going to be really close. Really close. Oh god. And then Yours Truly, Yellow Face. Okay. Okay, so these will be the polls. We have Sadie versus Love and Other Words. We have Stalking Jack the Ripper versus Anxious People. We have Addie LaRue versus Heartbones. We have The Nature of Witches versus Rock, Paper, Scissors. We've got Still Beating versus Icebreaker, and then last but by no means least, we've got Fourth Wing versus Love Theoretically. I don't know how this is going to go, but we will come back and find out what my actual TBR is going to be. I'm anxious, people. Okay, hello. It's been a few days. I'm nervous about this poll, I'm not going to lie. I'm nervous. I'm going to do you some fancy graphics that you can see what the results are after the event of going through this whole thing. But I have our rereads versus our new books that I haven't read yet. This pile's looking much nicer than that one as far as the size of it is concerned. Right, okay, so first off we have Sadie. For 2018, we've got Sadie, which is the reread, versus Love and Other Words. And the result is... oh my god, that's really close. We've got 57 votes for Sadie, and we've got 48 for Love and Other Words. That's really, really close. I know this is very, very popular. But we're going to do a Sadie reread by Courtney Summers. I'm kind of excited about this one. Obviously, I haven't read this since 2018. And I've wanted to, because I know the gist of what happens, but I have forgotten the crux and the twists and turns. So I feel like it will be a really, really good reread, and I am very excited about this one. So yay for that one. Okay, for 2019, we have Stalking Jack the Ripper reread by Kerry Maniscalco versus Anxious People, This Is Me Right Now by Frederick Backman. I'm really nervous because I know Frederick Backman is very, very popular. In this situation, I want to reread Stalking Jack the Ripper, so I'm really hoping... I've been going on about it for a while as well, wanting to do that, so I'm really hoping that this might win. But let's have a look at the results. Oh, yay! Okay, so Anxious People got 38 and Stalking Jack the Ripper got 67. So I'm really excited about that one. I did not realise though until just now how floppy this book is. I do want to get to this one. I am going to have to try and make it a priority at some point soon. But yeah, Stalking Jack the Ripper reread. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to reread this for years actually, since I read it for the first time, but more so recently because I know that Lauren from Fiction Tea has been rereading and annotating, so I'm very excited about rereading this one. All right, for 2020 we have got Addie LaRue reread by V.E. Schwab versus Heartbones by Coho. I've got to be brutally honest with you about this one. I'm really nervous because I actually don't know how bothered I am about this book. Every single time I read the synopsis, I'm clearly excited about it because I've kept it on my shelves, but I forget the synopsis every time, so I've no idea what this is about. Addie LaRue reread though makes me nervous because as much as I would love to reread this book, in theory I should hate this. And I'm worried that it was a case of right place, right time with this book, and maybe for me it was a one-hit wonder and I should leave it at that. So I'm really nervous about doing this, and I'm very anxious, and I think I don't know what I'll do if I'm partway through it and I'm like, this just isn't working for me. I might have to say that I will just put it down and will leave it at its 5-star and never touch the book again. Because I really don't want to ruin this for myself. So I'm really nervous about this one, I'm not gonna lie. But let's have a look at the results. I'm fairly certain Addie LaRue's gonna win because it is way more popular than Heartbones, and also there's a good portion of the bookish community dislike Co. So let's have a look at the results. Okay, yeah, so I'm not surprised by this at all. 27 votes for Heartbones and 78 for Addie LaRue. So I will be rereading Addie. I am nervous for the reasons that I've just mentioned, but I will do it for the people and for myself. Here's hoping that it wasn't a one-hit wonder. In theory, I should hate the writing style. It's quite lyrical and flowery prose, and I hate that. I can't stand it. It's just not my thing. So in theory, maybe it's just that it's not as brutal. So I don't know. I don't know the reason why I enjoyed it, but I did. Here's hoping that sticks. All right, next we've got The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin for my reread. Very same thing applies here with this as it did with Addie LaRue. I'm really nervous because, again, I should have hated the writing style in this book. Everyone's surprised that I enjoyed this. Not only did I enjoy it, but it's one of my favourite books of the year. So versus Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I have read one Alice Feeney book and I would like to read more. I loved Daisy Darker and I really want to read more, so I'm very excited about this one. Nervous about picking up a reread for The Nature of Witches. So let's see the results. Okay, 42 votes for Rock, Paper, Scissors and 63 for The Nature of Witches. That's closer than I anticipated it being, to be perfectly honest, but we are going to be rereading The Nature of Witches. Am I just going to end up rereading my books at this point? We will have to see. I love this book. I loved it when I read it. I'm so hoping that I will love it upon reread. Fingers crossed. Okay, for 2022, we've got Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman for reread. I really want to reread this. We will see what happens though. Versus Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I think of all of them, this might be my toughest one. If I had to pick myself out of these two, I wouldn't know what to do here. I really wouldn't. Anxiety will probably win and I'd end up picking Still Beating, but I wouldn't know what to do here because I have heard mixed things about Icebreaker. I know it's well loved, but I have heard mixed things. So I would have no idea what to pick here, so I honestly won't be mad either way. But let's see what the vote is. Wow. Okay, I'm kind of not surprised but also a little bit surprised. Only 27 people voted for a reread of Still Beating, which is really interesting, but Icebreaker was a clear winner with like 78 votes. So I'm going to be reading Icebreaker, which is a hockey romance, I believe. Hockey ice skating romance. What is she? Figure skater, sorry. Hockey figure skater romance. And I've heard great things but also mixed things, and I know that Daydreamer just came out, which is the third in this series. I don't own the rest of them. I nearly picked it up while I was in the shop the other day actually, but I don't own the others, so I didn't bother picking up Daydreamer while I was there because I don't own Wildfire yet and I want to read this first. So I have been promising Zoe that I will pick this up as well, so Zoe, now's the time to shine. And then last but by no means least, struggles, and last but by no means least for the final round for 2023, we have Fourth Wing. I don't know what to tell you. I feel like it's too soon for a reread, so I desperately don't want to reread this. Desperately don't want to reread it. I've set up a Patreon buddy read with my patrons. They asked for it. Onyx Storm comes out in January. I haven't finished Iron Flame yet, and I could really do with the boost. So I've set up a buddy read of the whole series, and I was going to reread Fourth Wing. And then I was thinking about it the other day while doing this project. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, honestly, I just don't know if it's too soon, and I don't really want to reread Fourth Wing. I will just continue with Iron Flame from where I am, because I'm worried that if I try and read the 200 pages that I've already read again, I'm just going to DNF it completely. So I feel like it's best for me personally if I just continue on from where I am. So here's hoping y'all didn't do me dirty. I don't want to reread this right now. It's too soon. It's too soon. I only read this last year. It's too soon. Versus Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Please. All you Ali Hazelwood girlies, come forth for me. I'm desperate. This has been on my TBR at least 3 times this year. At least twice, but I think 3 times this year. So it's about time, really. So let's have a look at the results. That's close. It's close, but I'm really shocked. Fourth Wing got 42 votes. I honestly thought that was going to be picked. I was terrified. Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, 63 votes. Shout out to y'all for voting this. So yeah, I'm going to be picking up this one. This is the Afterlight edition. And I'm very excited I actually managed to get my hands on it, because I didn't initially. So, yay. My TBR for this project consists of 4 rereads and 2 newbies. And I'm kind of excited, honestly. I am a little bit excited. I'm very excited. No, I'm very excited. Sounds like I'm not excited at all. I am. I'm really excited. I'm nervous about these 2. More so Addie, but really, really nervous about these 2. But I'm stoked about everything else. So here's hoping that it goes really, really well. And we are going to start off in 2018, when I started my channel, with Sadie by Courtney Summers. And I'm really, really excited. Let's go. Okay, howdy doody, I am back and I have finished Sadie by Courtney Summers. Really weird. I don't know if there is some kind of rule with rereading books. So we already know I'm apprehensive about rereading The Nature of Witches. We know I'm extremely apprehensive about rereading Addie LaRue. This one, I wasn't apprehensive about at all. I figured that it is quite the mystery. I figured that it's been a long enough period of time, it's 2018 when I first read this, that I've forgotten enough of, I knew exactly what the bare bones of the story were. I couldn't remember what the outcome was. I figured that enough time has passed that on that basis I would still thoroughly enjoy this. And I will caveat this with I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I would 100% recommend this book to everybody. Be careful of your trigger warnings. But the audiobook is 10 out of 10. I think this is a book that you can solely read on audio. And you probably should, even if you physically own it, still tandem read it with the audio. I wouldn't recommend physically reading this alone. Would not recommend it. The audiobook brings the story to life. It is so good with the podcast element, the conversations between the different characters. It's a full cast audio and it's done incredibly well. Listen to the audiobook. No matter what your other format is that you've got of this, listen to the audiobook. However, what has happened is that I don't think that this has had an impact on me like it did the first time I read it. And I was concerned about this with The Wicker King by Kay Ancrum when I reread it earlier on this year, but I still thoroughly enjoyed that. Like, I still gave it 5 out of 5 stars when I read it and I loved it. I don't know if there's like some rules with rereading. There's certain books you should and shouldn't reread in your arsenal. I don't know. ACOTAR series, I will reread until the cows come home. The Illuminae Files, I'll reread that book until the cows come home, that series. The Martian, reread it till the cows come home. We'll never get bored. Never ever get bored. I'm not saying I was bored with this. It just didn't impact me the same way it did the first time around. And it's not going to necessarily because I know what happens, which I didn't the first time I read it. But this book had me sobbing the first time I read it. I've reread my review. It had me sobbing, sorry. It broke my heart. I was shooketh because I wasn't anticipating the subject matter that we got from this book. And it really, really impacted me, and I've never forgotten about this book. Like, I will always, always recommend it. This time round, it's not impacted me as much, and I just wonder if it was a mistake me rereading it, and I'm concerned now. I've still given it 4.5 stars, and it's stayed a 5 on Goodreads, but it's just not impacted me as much, and now it's got me thinking about rereading certain books. Like, do I really want to put myself, because I will say as well, I didn't necessarily enjoy the process of rereading this. Like, I wasn't anxious to get back to the book. The minute I put it down, that was it. I probably could have just left it where it was and just not touched it again. I wasn't eager to get back to it, and I just don't think I enjoyed Struggles. I can't even put into words how I'm feeling about it. It's got me really, really confused, and it's really thrown me off because I wasn't expecting this reaction. And I'm worried because I'm like, I'm still gonna leave it as a 5-star read, but did I not enjoy this time round? Did I just not enjoy the process of rereading it because I've read it before and it's got really heartbreaking and, you know, horrible subject matter? Did I not enjoy it for that reason? Did it not need to be reread? Should I have just left it as a one-time read and that's it? And it will stay an all-time favorite on that basis, but I never need to reread it again? I just don't know. I'm confused. Has anybody had this before? It's got me feeling really, really nervous about some of the other rereads I've got though, because I was already, as I've mentioned, anxious about The Nature of Witches and Addie. Now I'm even more anxious, and I'm like, do I even try it? Like, I've always wanted to reread this. I've always wanted to reread Addie, and I've always wanted to reread The Nature of Witches, but I've always been hesitant because I've been worried it will ruin it for me. With all 3 of these books, not so much as this one with the other 2, but still with this one. And now I'm concerned I've just done that exact thing. And now I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about Addie and The Nature of Witches. And I wonder if I'm gonna have to put it into play that if the minute I am not enjoying that reread, I just put the book down. I don't count it as a reread. I put the book down. It stays as a 5-star read and one of my all-time favorites. And I just tell you that that is what has happened in this vlog. And I go no further with it. I wonder if that's what I have to do. So yeah, I'm coming to you with maybe not the update I was hoping for the beginning of this vlog with the first book for 2018. I don't know. It's really opened my eyes though. There's like certain books that I will willingly reread. For example, the next one that I'm about to mention. Happy to reread this. I don't think I'm going to have any problems rereading this book whatsoever. Maybe it's the subject matter that I need to be careful with. Like, again, really want to reread Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman, but am I going to fuck myself up with that book rereading it again? Should I not be doing that? Do I? It's got me feeling very confused. I've still given it 4.5 stars though, the second time round. But I don't know if that's out of an obligation that I feel like I need to, because it's an incredible book. Don't get me wrong, it's incredibly good. Like, by no means, I've not gone through this the second time round and hated the book or the content within the book. I hate obviously what happens, and not the content itself, like the actual writing and the way it's laid out and everything. Incredible, very well done. The audiobook, incredibly well done. I just didn't enjoy the process of rereading this. It was the act of actually doing it that I didn't enjoy, not the book itself, if that makes any sense. So I just wanted to clarify that. But yeah, it's thrown me really off kilter, and it's got me extremely worried about Addie and The Nature of Witches. So, moving on to a book that I am very excited about rereading. This is the 2019 book, and I'm really looking forward to rereading this one, to be honest, because I don't think I'm going to have any problems rereading this one. I've been very eager to pick this one up, especially in the last couple of months, but since I read it for the first time in 2019 anyway. And it is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco. I'm so excited to reread this one, and especially on the basis that Lauren from Fiction Tea is currently rereading this at the moment. She's taking her sweet time with it because she's annotating, and I really want to annotate this, but I just don't know if I'm gonna have the time. So we'll have to see whether or not I do get the time to do so, but I'm really looking forward to reading it. We're following Audrey Rose Wadsworth, my apologies Audrey Rose, and Thomas Cresswell. Now, we're in the 1800s here, the late 1800s, so obviously we're in a society here where women are wives and mothers, should be seen but never heard, essentially. Sorry about the sun. This weather cannot make its mind up. It's been pissing it down all day, on and off with the sun. Can't make its mind up. There is a glorious rainbow coming through the window right now though because of my dino. Oh look, it's raining. You might be able to hear it if it gets heavy in a minute. Anyway, we're in a time period where women should be seen but never heard. They don't have jobs. They should be at home looking after the kids, putting tea on the table, etc, etc. However, Audrey doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want that life. She's been obsessed with death ever since her mother passed away. And she's been obsessed with trying to figure out death in general. So she swaps her, let me read it how it's written in here, because honestly, after the loss of her beloved mother, she's determined to understand the nature of death and its workings, trading in her embroidery needle for an autopsy scalpel. Audrey secretly apprentices in forensics. She soon gets drawn into the investigation of serial killer Jack the Ripper, but to her horror, the search for clues bring her far closer to the sheltered world than she ever thought possible. And she ends up, within this class is Thomas Cresswell as well, who she ends up on this investigation with. There is obviously a lot of looking down on her for doing this. Initially, they didn't want her in the class. It's a class full of men, obviously. And initially, they didn't want her doing it, but they allow her in because she is stubborn as a mule and she will not leave. So they allow her to stick around, and then she ends up on this investigation of Jack the Ripper. And I just love it, and I'm just really, really excited to give it a read. I will not have a single problem with this. I know I won't. There will not be 1 ounce of me that gets partway through this book and goes, I'm not enjoying this reread at all, because I loved this book, this whole series, the first time I read it, and I immediately wanted to reread it, but I've left it that long now that I remember little tidbits from this series, but I remember fuck all else. I don't know who any of the villains in these stories are. I can't remember. I remember in general where Audrey Rose and Thomas, they go, but I don't remember the majority of what goes on in these books at all. So I'm very excited to give this a reread, and I know I won't have a problem with this, while I anxiously anticipate that Addie LaRue is coming up next. Let's go. Hello. Okay, I've finished Stalking Jack the Ripper. This took me way too long to get through, and it's not my fault. Actually, well, it kind of is my fault. It's not the book's fault. I still love this on the second reread. It's still getting 5 stars. The things that I loved about this are the relationship between Thomas and Audrey Rose. The vibes that we get from that, and then the relationship that she's got with her uncle, and also everything that comes out of all of this like towards the end. I just love it. I love the atmosphere that we have here as well in late 1800s London, the whole Stalking Jack the Ripper thing and the twist on that, and how they have taken a very well-known actual in real life serial killer and twisted it to make it work for this story. And I think it's been done very, very well and very cleverly. And I just love it. I love the writing style. I just love everything about this book, this entire series. The atmosphere, I just forgot how atmospheric this book is. It is so atmospheric, very gory in places. There are like some chapters that have pictures at the beginning of them, and the pictures can be absolutely vile as well on some of them. I'm not going to show you that one actually, because that is quite disgusting, but some of the pictures can be really, really vile, and you know, there's just something a little bit random there. That's not a disgusting one. There are way more disgusting ones than that. But also love the characters, love the atmosphere, love the writing, love the plot. I love where the plot goes and how we get there and everything that goes with it. What I will say upon reread, and I think this is always a struggle with something like this, whether it be like a mystery thriller type book, is always a struggle upon reread, because you know how it ends. So I can't remember the other 3 books in the series. I've got no fucking clue how those books end. No idea. I don't know who is the problem child in any of those books. This one I've always remembered. So I've gone into this knowing exactly how it ends, but not remembering how we get from A to B, which is one of the reasons why I've been entirely fine with picking this up. Now, I have loved it the exact same. However, I will say maybe my enjoyment was dulled a little bit on the basis that I knew where we were going with it. So every single time, like this sort of book, this book particularly, will pull you in every single direction, and everyone's a suspect in this book when you read it for the first time. It doesn't have the same vibes the second time if you remember who the killer is. Because you are going through this book, and instead of thinking to yourself, oh my god, maybe it's such and such a body, you're not doing that anymore, because you're going, I see how it's very clever how Kerry will make the reader think that, but I know that's not the case, you know. And I'm just spending the whole book going, Audrey, hello. Don't be so dumb. But obviously for the readers of the first time, they will not know this. I am just projecting because I've read it already. So I will say that maybe dulled my enjoyment ever so slightly. Not enough for me to take a star off. I still absolutely fucking love this book and will forever give it 5 stars. And I adored it. I did tab it this time as well. I really wanted to annotate it, and even towards the end I debated getting my pens out because there was so much I wanted to annotate. But I'm always terrified with books like this that I know they're redoing the covers on these. I actually think I'm just going to keep these covers because they're stunning, but I'm always terrified that at some point, if I ever want to get rid of these books, the minute I put pen to paper in these books, they are worth nothing. Absolutely nothing to anybody, unless you're interested in other people's annotations and thoughts when they're reading their books. They're worth zilch to people, so it's really hard to kind of get rid of them. You can drop them off at the charity shop. It's the charity shop's problem at that point, but I hate the thought of the charity shop looking inside it going, someone scribbled all over this, we can't do anything with it, in the bin. It's such a waste. So I tend to only do it when I know 1,000,000,000% that I am going to keep that book forever and ever and ever, amen. I'm not 100% certain on whether or not that will be the case with this. It probably will, and this would be a really good book to annotate, but for some reason I've just held off on doing it. So 5 stars for this one. And the next book for 2020 is going to be The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. I think I've already mentioned this probably in the vlog. I can't remember whether or not I have, but I'm incredibly anxious about giving this one a reread, because in theory I should friggin' hate the writing style in this book. I should hate it. Everybody is shocked that knows my writing style taste, the fact that I don't like lyrical and flowery prose. For those that know that information before I tell them that I love The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, when they then find out that this is a thing, they're fucking shooketh, because they're like, what do you mean? Because that doesn't make sense. And it doesn't. Now, one of 2 things has happened here. Either this isn't as flowery and lyrical prose-esque as we all make it, well, it's made out to be, or it was a good day. It was a good portion of time that I was picking this book up. It was the right place, right time, and me rereading it is going to spoil that entirely. So I'm going into this with the caveat, and I'm going to do the exact same thing for The Nature of Witches because of the exact same reasons. I'm going into it with the caveat that the minute I stop enjoying this book, I'm putting it down. I'm not counting it as a DNF. It will just be a case of, I have read this book once, I gave it 5 stars, it's one of my favourite books of all time, and that will be the end of the discussion. So just bear that in mind, because I do not want to ruin this book with a reread. It will kill me if I do that. It will destroy me. I will never be happy about this situation if I ruin this book with a reread. So even if a chapter in I am not having a good time, I will be putting this book down and we will never speak of it again. Not the book itself, this situation. I hope you understand. Yeah, that's what's going to happen here. I hope that's okay. Anywho, I'm going to get going, but yeah, I'm going to get started on this one. We will see how it goes. Hello, hello. Good news. I'm halfway through. Which is fantastic news. I am here. Part 4. Page 223. So I'm halfway through the book. It's going well so far. I'm really impressed with how well it's going. I'm even tabbing it up and I'm having a great time again for the second time. I'm so happy, honestly. I think I truly convinced myself that I was going to end up putting this down like 20 pages in and it was going to ruin the reread for me. Turns out that's not the case. I am having the time of my life rereading this. I think the other thing as well is that everything that happens in this book, I don't fully remember how this book wraps up, which is fantastic news for me. But everything that's happened so far in this book, I thought happened in the second half of the book. So I've got no idea what's going to happen at this point. No clue what's going to happen here. So yeah, that should be interesting. But having a great time, which is honestly the best news, because I was really worried I was going to ruin this for myself and I haven't. So I'm really glad. It has meant though that the time I was wasting not reading Stalking Jack the Ripper, but not reading Stalking Jack the Ripper because I was worried I was going to end up putting this down and potentially ruining it for myself, I was then kind of time wasting thinking, well, I'll end up putting this down and The Nature of Witches, so I don't need to rush now to get this video filmed because I'll end up putting those 2 down and then I've only 2 books left. It turns out that's not the case now, so I am in a little bit of a pickle now where I've wasted so long trying to get through Stalking Jack the Ripper and now I'm actually getting through this. I am still hoping that within a couple of days I can have this finished though, because I'm managing to do like a part a night, which is good news. So for the last part 1, part 2, part 3, yeah, the past 3 nights I've managed to do like 70 to 80 pages and it's going really well. I'm loving it, so I'm having a good time. So yeah, I just wanted to come on and give you a quick brief update that all is going well. Okay, hey, here with a very good update for you. This took me a while, in all honesty. It did take me a little while to get through this and get it finished. I think I was prioritising other books, in all honesty. I was trying to film weekly reading vlogs while also reading these books, and it turns out that that is a struggle. It's not something I can multitask very easily. Like if I've got an audiobook on and it's an easy audiobook to get through, I can do some work, make thumbnails, do some admin, things like that. I can pack orders, I can play on my Switch, I can potter around the house and do housework. I can do all of those things while listening to an audiobook. I can multitask doing that. However, multitasking in which I am filming for a weekly vlog and then also a bigger project in the background, I find a little bit of a struggle, especially if I'm trying to read multiple books in a short space of time. So it ended up being one of those situations. So anyway, I managed to get the book finished and I am now just kind of focusing. I'm not doing a weekly vlog for the last full week on the build up to the anniversary week, so I'm not doing a weekly vlog. I'm trying to focus on just getting through as many of these books as I possibly can, and then I have like 2 days next week where I've got 2 free full days where I can concentrate on these books. If I get them finished before then, I will just do a different video for those 2 days maybe. We'll see. But anyway, you didn't need to know that. But little update for you. I have managed to get The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue finished by V.E. Schwab. I can't tell you how thrilled I am to come out at the end of this and still fucking love this book as much as I did the first time. This was so good. I am thrilled to bits. I think I expressed my anxiety about going into this book in the beginning when I was letting you know what I would be reading, and also before we went into the book. I think I did anyway. I can't remember. It's been a while since I filmed those clips. But I am so thoroughly pleased that it, you know, it is still a favourite of mine actively, and it wasn't just a on the whim, it was a good day, you know, I picked it up at the right time kind of book. This is actively still one of my favourite books of all time. It would get 5 stars today. It got 5 stars back then. It will probably got 5 stars in another 5 years, you know? I loved this. It was so good. So I've spoken about the fact that the reason why I get anxious about this book, about the thought of going back into it, is because in reality, I shouldn't like this book. This should not work for me. I have this thing with flowery and lyrical writing. I don't like it. It makes me feel a little bit stupid. I don't like the drawn out descriptions, and it doesn't work for me. I love that it works for so many people. I love that for those people. Jade is one of those people. But for me personally, it just doesn't work, and that's okay. How boring would the world be if we all loved the same things? But on that basis then, I will actively obviously avoid those books. When somebody says that the writing is lyrical or flowery, I'll actively avoid them. If I DNF a book because of this, I know Mads, for example, from Book Browsing Blog, will then immediately pick the book up. If I say that the writing style is flowery and lyrical and I've DNF'd it for that reason, they will then pick that book up. So, you know, it's pros and cons to all of these types of things, but this book, actively, I, in theory, should not like it because of that reason. However, for some reason, this just works for me. Now, I don't know if it's because of Addie as a character and Henry, actually, as well. I forgot how prevalent Henry's chapters are in this book, and I loved his chapters, going back through them, and how he feels, and you know, the things that have happened to him and what he's going through. I just love them, and I think, to be honest, they both play a very, very important part in me loving this book, because I relate to both of them so much, exactly what it is that they're going through. Addie, with there not being enough time in a general lifespan to see everything and witness and feel everything she wants to do in her life. And then Henry with what he's going through, without spoiling anything. I think they actively play a massive part of me loving this book so much. The descriptive writing and lyricalness of it, I don't hate it. I don't know if it's that it's low-key in this book, it's not as heavily done. Maybe it's because they're short chapters and it's, you know, the sentences aren't long running. Maybe it's because there is a lot of dialogue in this book. I don't know the reason why, but it just works for me. And I just fucking love this story. It's such a beautiful story. I am obsessed. I did tab it up this time round. I really wanted to annotate it, but I really wanted to annotate it, but I'm forever terrified. I always want to annotate my books. I like, especially favourites. I love the thought of annotating favourite books, but I get nervous about the fact, you know, that when it comes round to the fact that maybe I will get rid of that book someday, it's not worth anything because I've actively written in it. Whereas tabbing, I can take these tabs out and this book is still, you know, as good as new, because I take good care of my books until I don't, which, you know, also is fine. I do bend spines on paperbacks, but hardbacks I tend to take really good care of. So I don't know, maybe if I do another reread at some point in a few more years time, maybe then I will annotate it because I've already tabbed it up. It's one of those things, you know. So anyway, fucking loved this. This was fantastic. 5 stars again. Obsessed, had a great time. Obviously my next book is going to be The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. in which we do have a very similar situation with this. Again, I was very, very anxious about both Addie and The Nature of Witches winning the polls that they did, because I was nervous about picking this up again. Another book with lyrical writing that in theory I should not have liked, but I loved. And I thought it was an in the moment, it was the right time, right moment for me to be picking this book up, and it will never work for me again. Again, going into this with the caveat that if at any point it's not working for me, I will be putting it down and we will not be counting it as a reread. It will still be one of my favourite books of all time. It's just that I will never touch it again. Now, hear me out, I've already started it. I have already started my reread of this book and I am currently 105 pages in to my reread. Now, originally when I read this, I did tab and annotate it. I was going to reread, I've got 2 copies of this. I was going to reread the copy that I hadn't tabbed and annotated and maybe re-tab and annotate it. However, what I did notice is that my other copy isn't the pretty one underneath the dust jacket. So I've decided I'm going to go back through this one, add new annotations if I want to, because I've already annotated it, so it's no bother to me to add new ones with just a normal blue pen, because this, when I first did it, I did it colourful and I hate myself for it, but I would underline, you know, in like coloured pen to reflect the colour of the tab that I was using, things like that. And I would do like big annotations, like big drawings, illustrations, that's the word I'm looking for, good lord, on some of the chapter headings for no good reason other than to have some fun with it. But I, now looking back, hate myself for doing those things because I've made a bit of a mess in this book. I'm trying to find an illustration that I've done. I know I did a cat at some point. Cat. She's not an artist. So I've decided to go through, re-tab in colours that make sense to the book. I've tried to match my tabs to my book. Stunning. And any other additional annotations I want to do, I will do, and I will be replacing these tabs as I'm going through. Now, 100 pages in, I am at winter because we go through the seasons, and again, very much so enjoying myself. This book, I just love the quotes, and I love the way that we are connecting witches with nature and what it is that we are doing to the planet. I actually love the descriptions in here. I love that our main character, Clara, does not want to be the hero. She does not want to be the person to have to save the world. She doesn't want to do it. It causes her a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. She doesn't want it on her shoulders. And I kind of love that. I love that our heroine does not want to be a heroine. She's not actively looking for superhero, you know, heroine status. She don't want it. She just wants to live her life and be a normal person. And I kind of love that. It's not very often we have the heroine that does not want to be a heroine. She just wants to be normal and live her life and watch the heroine do her thing, and, you know, respect that person and actively thank that person for doing what they've done and saving the world. She don't want to be the person to have to do that. She does not want that on her shoulders. And I get it. I get it. We all want to be a superhero at some point, but I imagine if we were put on a pedestal to be that person, you are the only one that can save the planet from destroying itself, would you want to be that person? Because I certainly fucking wouldn't. I don't think I could deal with the anxiety of it, and I love that about her. I love how raw and honest she is, and I just really like this book. I love it. So I'm really glad that I get this opportunity to go through and re-tab and maybe do some re-annotations. I don't think it's going to take me long to get through this at all, so I'm planning on trying to get through this today. So you may see me come back to give you an update, let you know my thoughts on this in the same outfit, because I've gotten through it in a day. So let's get on to this anyway, because I really need to get a shufty on with doing this. And yeah, you may see me later on today chatting about this and letting you know what we're going on to next. Okay, hello. As mentioned earlier, my intention was to get this finished before I went on Sprinted Patrons, and I have in fact done it. This is very satisfying, and they go with the cover so nicely. Love it. I really enjoyed this for my first reread of it. Considering I haven't read this since 2021. Is that when I read this? I think, yeah, we're on 2021, right? Yeah, 2021. I haven't read it since, reread it since then, and I really enjoyed myself again. I had a very good time. I am thrilled to bits that I have enjoyed both Addie and The Nature of Witches, because I was super anxious about this situation. So I had a really good time. Love some of the quotes in here. I just love the connection to nature and the connection to climate change as well, the discussions that I had in here, the magic and the power and just all of that good stuff. I just really love this book. It's so, so good. I will say, I mean, I haven't read Bring Me Your Midnight yet, but the second one that Rachel Griffin did, whose name I can't remember now off the top of my head, didn't live up to this one. I think my expectations were way too high, which is a shame, but it didn't live up to this one, which is sad. So my expectations have been lowered for Bring Me Your Midnight, and I do intend to get to it before the end of the year. But yeah, absolutely love this. Have given it 5 stars for a second time, and we are now out of reread territory. So we get to go on to books that I have not yet read, and we're going to start off in 2022 with Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Now, I have started this one because I finished The Nature of Witches a couple hours ago now, and I'm currently on page 119 and I'm making my way through this. This one is following Anastasia, who's a figure skater, and also Nathan, who is the ice hockey captain. And something has happened. They used to have 2 separate skating rinks, but something has happened that means that they now have to share the skating rinks. So the figure skating team and the hockey team are now having to share this space, and they're being kind of forced to become friends. It's in this moment that Anastasia and Nathan kind of meet and very quickly kind of hit it off. I think she's a little bit cold to him to start off with, but they do very quickly hit it off. Now, Anastasia is the sort of girl that does kind of casual hookups, if you like. She's already got this casual hookup going on with Ryan, who is the captain of a different team. Cannot remember what the team is, in all honesty. I wasn't focusing too hard on Ryan because he is not the love interest in this. He is her best friend, and they had like a hookup situation with the agreement that if either of them decided that they wanted to start dating somebody else, they would then just leave it, which inevitably is a thing that happens. So we're now in a situation where Anastasia and Nathan have had a couple of foreplay moments, let's say that, a couple of foreplay moments, and Nate's just had a moment where he's actually turned Anastasia down. She's had quite a bit to drink, and he said that he doesn't want to sleep with her for the first time when she's had too much to drink. When she's drunk, he doesn't want to be a drunk hookup, but he said it quite nicely to her, but I think it's come off of the back of him asking questions about her and Nate's situation, her and Ryan's situation. So it's not gone down very well with Anastasia, and that's the point at which I'm at. So far I am enjoying this. It is a little bit quick. I mean, we're 118 pages in. They've already had 2 foreplay moments, and she was like literally sleeping with somebody else not a week prior. So I'm not that I am shaming her in any way, shape or form, because I am not. But for me, just this portion of it with her and Nate now, it's quite quick, I think, personally. But after saying that, I don't think she's necessarily a dater at this moment in time. So she's just looking for a hookup, I think. Her and Ryan no longer are, so I think she's just looking for a hookup. In which case, absolutely fine, you know? So I don't know, I'm interested to see where it's going to go. I'm enjoying the writing style. We haven't had much time on the ice so far, but I'm interested to see how this is going to go. We have had a moment where Anastasia had a fall and hit her head, and he immediately started to look after her, and I loved that. There's also Aaron as well, who is a skating partner for the figure skating. That guy's a fucking douche, and I do not like him. So I'm intrigued to see how this is going to go, and I can't wait to continue on with it. I also do have the other two in this series, Wildfire and Daydream. I don't usually do that anymore, where I buy the rest in the series unless I've read the first one, because I was sick to death of buying the whole series and then finding myself in a situation where I didn't even like the first book, and then I had to unhaul the whole series instead of just one book, and it was a huge waste of money. So I don't tend to do that at this anymore, but I have heard that Daydream has some neurodivergent rep. I'm not sure in what capacity that comes in, whether it's ADHD, autism, something else, but I'm intrigued to pick that one up because of that. So I want to at least read that book, even if, you know, I didn't enjoy this one. I will continue on with Wildfire and Daydream. So I'm intrigued to see where they go, but this is very fast paced so far as well. We've got 8 minutes left of a second sprint, and this is how far in I am. So it is quite fast paced. I would love to have finished this today. I don't know how possible that's going to be, but if I can really stick to these sprints with the timer and not get distracted and continue, or not get distracted and, sorry, I've just gotten distracted. Not get distracted and end up chatting for too long and kind of stick to the 55.5 sprints that I'm doing, there's a possibility I could finish this. I have 3 hours and 51 minutes left. So maybe, we'll see. How good would that be though if I could finish this today and then there's only love theoretically left for this video? That would be sick. But I'm gonna go continue on with this. So far, so good. I'm having a good time. It'll be interesting, I think. Alright, hello, I'm here to update you. I have finished Icebreaker. I can't remember if I gave you a quick rundown of what this is about. I think I did, because I think I was like maybe 50 pages in or something when I first let you know that I was reading this one. I have now finished it. I finished it a few days ago actually, but I've been feeling really rough and haven't had chance to come on here and let you know about it. To be honest, today is the roughest I've felt, but I've had a shower and I feel a little bit better. So Andy's had a cold and it's giving it to me. And I'm not happy about the situation. I'm also coming off of the back of like a 3-day really bad headache that I couldn't figure out whether or not it was a migraine, but I just could not get rid of it for love nor money, and it was driving me insane. So I haven't picked a book up since Friday. It is now Monday. It literally doesn't matter to you what day it is because this video has been going on for months regardless. But I haven't been, the last week, I haven't been a weekly vlogging, and I feel like I'm going insane because I haven't been talking to the camera for a week to let you know how my week's going. So I just need to do a very quick dump on that. So yeah, you're welcome anyway to find out how I'm going on with things. The video is going up this week, by the way, so this is the week that the video is going up. You're welcome. Anyway, we're following Anastasia, Stacy, and also Nate in this video. No. In this book, Stacy is a figure skater, Nate is a hockey player, and I'm fairly certain I've given you a very quick rundown of what's going on as far as like the ice rink situation. One of the hockey lads took it too far with a joke, wrecked one of the ice rinks, and now they have to share an ice rink, the figure skaters and the hockey players. And then her partner for the figure skating ends up in a bit of an accident and says that it was Nate's fault. He takes the rap for it even though it wasn't his fault, because otherwise the whole team gets banned from hockey. So he then gets banned from hockey, and he's then forced to help Stacy out because Aaron can no longer skate and help her out because of his injury. So we end up in this situation, and these two end up becoming quite close. I will say there are multiple things that I really enjoyed about this book, multiple things that bugged me a little bit. I really enjoyed actually the adult discussions around situationships. So Stacy is in a situationship at the beginning of this book with somebody else that I think was a very adult situationship. They were literally friends with benefits, like he is her best mate. They were sleeping together, they were having very adult conversations. He then met someone and they had an adult conversation. There was no jealousy, and it was a case of, okay, we'll stop the sleeping with each other situation side, but we are still best mates. We will still hang out, watch a movie, you can come round, you can, you know, hang out, watch a movie when they do whatever. And it was a very adult conversation. Nobody got jealous, there was no kicking off. It was very, very adult, and I enjoyed that. It's not very often I have seen that kind of thing before, either in person or in a book or in a movie. So I enjoyed that they were very adult about this. She actually feels quite detached from her emotions a little bit, and I don't know if it is a side effect of how she's kind of been brought up. So you find out something about, I don't want to mention it because it's not mentioned on the back, but you find out something about Stacy that I think because of that, and because she puts a lot of pressure on herself with this figure skating, and her partner Aaron, who's a complete fucking douchebag, and I wanted to rip his head off his body, complete dick, control freak, because of how he treats her as well. I think she's very detached from her emotions because she's not to be emotional, because of how much pressure is on her for this figure skating, which a lot of it she puts on herself, but Aaron puts a lot on her as well. Now Aaron, dickhead, hate him, complete wazzock, do not like that man in the slightest, and I hope that we never see him again because I really, really hated him. This man was master manipulator, and I did not like him at all. And for some reason, the only person in Stacy's life that could see it was Nate, and it just made him look like he was jealous of this guy. And she would only read into it as that. I don't know how the teacher missed it. I don't know how Stacy missed it. I don't know how Stacy's best friend missed it, or the guy, you know, that she was like her roommate who lived with her and Aaron actually, and then the guy that she was sleeping with. I don't know how any of them missed it. It was really bizarre because he was affecting like her eating and all sorts, her dietary requirements, all of this lot, and none of them said anything. And I was like, how has nobody seen this? Like, she's in this bubble, she won't see it, but the people around her should have seen it. Nate picked up on it straight away, and I was like, why is nobody saying anything to it? That's so fucking annoying. The guy she was sleeping with did mention one or two things, but she just couldn't see it, and I don't think he pressed hard enough with her to say something. So anyway, that was a whole thing that I think was dealt with very, very well, but I did want to rip Aaron's head from his body, as I've mentioned. I think these two were cute together. I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the whole kind of like frat house, but not really a frat house. It is, but it isn't, where the guys live, and the way that they implemented Stacy and her friend into their lives very, very quickly, because she started dating one of the guys on the team as well. And I think that I really enjoyed the way they implemented that. They weren't dicks about having women around. They actually really liked having them around, not for the womanly things that they will do, like cooking, for example, but just to have the company around, female company around. And I kind of liked that. I really enjoyed it. And the way that these two supported each other's careers as well, I liked that too. So yeah, overall, I think it went well, and I gave it 4 stars. It was a low 4 stars. It didn't do anything special. Although I do think the chatter surrounding the whole assholery that Aaron was doing was good, and I did really enjoy the situationship that Stacy was in at the beginning of the book and the way that that was handled. So yeah, 4 stars. Glad that I've read it. I can now move on to Wildfire, and I'm so excited about Daydreamer because I'm fairly certain that I've heard, and I can't remember if I already mentioned this or not, but I'm fairly certain that I've heard that it's got neurodivergent rep in it. I don't know what kind. I don't know if it's like ADHD or autism or something else, but I'm really excited about that, especially if it is ADHD, because, you know, ADHD. But anyway, we've read Icebreaker, given it 4 stars. I liked it. It was a good time. And now I'm going to go on to Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I did get the covers from Illumicrate for these because I did think they were pretty and I felt like I was missing out. However, I'm a little bit frustrated because I don't have one for Check and Mate, because the one I got Check and Mate late and it doesn't have the reversible dust jacket on it. So Part of my books are going to have these ones and part of them are not, which is the reason why I didn't get Not in Love to begin with, because I didn't want to have the alternative dust jacket. Never mind, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And I was being really stubborn about it, and then they went back on sale and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get them, fuck it. And now I've put this one on here. Anyway, Love Theoretically, I don't know what this is about, to be perfectly honest. I have started it, there's a bookmark in there, I'm only up to chapter 2, and there is no synopsis on this dust jacket, which is just fucking brilliant. Hang on, give me a second. A lot of good that thing is. Anyway, synopsis. The many lives of theoretical physicist Elsie Hanaway have finally caught up with her. By day, she's an adjunct professor, toiling away at grading labs and teaching thermodynamics in the hopes of landing a tenure. By other day, Elsie makes up for her non-existent paycheck by offering her services as a fake girlfriend, tapping into her expertly honed people-pleasing skills to embody whichever version of herself the client needs. Honestly, it's a pretty sweet gig. Until her carefully constructed Elsieverse comes crashing down because Jack Smith, the annoyingly attractive and arrogant older brother of her favourite client, turns out to be the cold-hearted experimental physicist who ruined her mentor's career and undermined the reputation of theorists everywhere. And here's the same Jack Smith who rules over the physics department at MIT, standing right between Elsie and her dream job. Elsie is prepared for an all-out war of scholarly sabotage, but those long penetrating looks, not having to be anything other than her true self when she's with him, will falling into an experimentalist's orbit finally tempt her to put her most guarded theories on love into practice. Interesting. Lots of words in there, I'm not gonna lie. Lots of big words, I mean. Lots of words. Lots of big words, I mean. So, I'm already on to chapter 2, and we have just had Elsie on a date with Jack's brother, who is called Greg. So, she's with her client, Greg, who is her favourite client. Jack is his brother. And she goes to a dinner party at Greg's parents' house. She doesn't realise Jack's going to be there. She's really hoping he wasn't going to be there, to be honest. And she ends up finding herself in this little bit of a situation where Jack's kind of prodding her about questions about Greg that she doesn't necessarily know the answer to. And I don't know if Jack's like putting 2 and 2 together already about these two, but we do start off actually before chapter 1. We start off with a little bit of a prologue, which is 24 hours after. So I don't know how we get from here to there, which I assume the book will tell us, of them being locked in a cupboard maybe. And she's fidgeting. He's like, I'm not fidgeting. And I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure what's happening, but I'm 22 pages in on chapter 2, so I'm interested to see how this is going to go and what's going to happen. And my aim is to get through this today so that I can get this video wrapped up, because I'm cutting it very, very close to, you know, get this video done. So that is my aim for today. So let's get this book done, and I will come back to you with my full thoughts on it at the end of this clip. And I will come back to you with my full thoughts on this. Okay, I'm here to update you one last time for this video. My apologies for the sound of my voice. I have a cold kicking in and it always starts in my throat. I'm not sure why, but it does. But I'm here to update you one last time for this video. I cannot believe it, I've actually made it. I feel like this video has been going on forever. Not as long as the BookTube favourites video, but still quite a long time. I did in fact finish Love Theoretically. I have given this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think there was quite a few good conversations in this. I will say that this was way more technical on the STEM side of things than I've read previously from Ali Hazelwood. So I've still not yet read Love on the Brain. I have read The Love Hypothesis, and then the ones that don't specifically, I don't think, feature STEM, Checkmate and Bride, I've also read. And I think I gave The Love Hypothesis 5 stars when I read it. Checkmate and Bride, I think, both got 4.5 stars. Really loved them. This one has gotten 4. it was very technical on the STEM side of things, and Ali does acknowledge that in the back of the book in her author's note, so I appreciate that she's acknowledged that. But overall, I think the general relationship between these two I really enjoyed, and I loved that we actually got to see Adam and Olive again from The Love Hypothesis. That was a cute cameo and I really enjoyed that. And I think that this dealt with a good discussion also of control within the workplace, if you like. So our female main character Elsie she's trying her very hardest to get like a better job that she would prefer. She does do teaching at the moment and she would like to get a better job, but she does have a kind of tutor, if you like. I don't really know how this works, but she's got like a kind of tutor that she relies on relatively heavily and also respects his decision making very much so. So she kind of gets offered a job partway through this that she then says she has to check with her mentor. That's the word, mentor. And everyone just seems to go really sullen about this mentor, and it turns out there is a thing about him that affects her massively. And I think that as a whole, without spoiling it, was a really good discussion, and I liked that. I thought it was dealt with relatively well, and I really enjoyed that side of things. I will say it took me a while, because it was more technical, it took me a while to get into it and to actually care about what was going on in this. So it probably wasn't until about 50% of the way through that I actually properly engaged my brain and fully took note of exactly what was going on. I did know what was going on, but I wasn't 100% in it because I didn't 100% care, because it was way too technical. So, but overall, just based off of the 50% that I was 100% taking note on, still 4 stars. So I did enjoy this one. I had a good time, and that is everything for this video. I can't believe it. We made it. I did read 6 books for this video, 4 of which were rereads and 2 of which were new reads. And I had a great time, I will say. I think there are some things that I've learned from this, and especially with like rereads as well going forward. And I think there's some things I've learned about myself as well. For example, with rereads, I've learned that maybe rereading thrillers isn't a great idea. However, there are a couple on my shelves that, because of the reveal, I would like to go back and reread again to see if I pick up on it a second time. But something like this, for example, just didn't hit the same way the second time round, which is a shame. I have still rated it 5 stars on Goodreads because it is still an incredible book. I'm not going to let my reread rating affect that, but it is what it is. So this didn't hit the same, which did make me nervous going forward with my rereads, even more nervous than I already was for 2 of them anyway. This one, however, I wasn't nervous for at all, because I knew regardless that I would absolutely love this one upon reread. I did tab this one as well, which I'm excited about. If I ever come to reread it again, I may annotate it. At that point, it's solidly staying on my shelves. But I had such a good time rereading this one, and I am excited to continue on rereading the series because I love this series massively. So that one was a huge win. And then I think probably my most successful win is Adi LaRue with this challenge with this video, because I truly anticipated that I was going to have to put this down partway through, not too far into the book as well. I honestly didn't think it was going to take me too long, maybe 100 pages max, and I would have to put this down because it was a right place, right time kind of read. Turns out that's not the case. I genuinely 100% love this book, and now it is solidly in there as one of my favourite books of all time. It truly is. I also tabbed this one as well. So yeah, had a fantastic time with this. Again, if I ever come to reread it, I'll probably annotate it because I didn't this time round. I get too nervous about annotating my books. Sometimes I don't care, and sometimes I do get nervous about it, especially like with if this is a special edition one. So especially with books like this, where, you know, if it comes to getting rid of it on the other end, it's the sort of book that I could sell for a little bit of money maybe, as opposed to just giving it away to a charity shop. So I do get nervous about annotating my books. Similarly with these, I think they're getting new covers, and also I'm not sure if you can get the hardbacks anymore, so same thing with that. So tabbing them is my other option, but I would love to go back and annotate these maybe at some point if I do solidly keep these. which I fully intend to at the moment, but you know, life can change at the drop of a hat, you never know. So yeah, this one is probably my most successful book out of this whole video, I think. Second most successful is probably The Nature of Witches, because again, I thought the same thing was going to happen with this with Addie LaRue. Again, I tabbed this one this time. I had already annotated this one, so I just replaced the tabs with tabs that actually suit the book. So that one was another good read. 3 5-star reads, that, well, 4 if you include Sadie, but this time around I probably wouldn't have given it 5 stars, but I've still kept it as 5 stars on Goodreads. And then we do have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, and also Love Hypothesis, Love Theoretically. Struggles. Love Theoretically, how confusing, Ali, by Ali Hazelwood, that I have read for the first time. I'm so glad that I've read both of these now, because this has been on multiple TBRs. This hasn't made it, I don't think it has anyway, to a single TBR, but I should have read it by now. I do have the rest of the series, and I am excited about getting into them. So that is everything for this video. I don't really know what this proved. I just thought it would be a little bit of fun to read a book from every year I've been on BookTube, but try and mix it up a little bit differently than what Gavin did, because I probably could have ended up with similar books on my TBR to what he's had with his video. I will leave a link to Gavin's video in the description box down below. If you haven't seen it, I don't know how, but I will leave it in the description box down below so you can go and check it out. I would highly recommend doing so, because it's a very good video and it's what inspired this video. So again, shout out to Gavin for his input in helping me out with this one, both with the original idea anyway, and then his idea of pitting up a reread against a new read and letting the people vote on what they wanted me to read. So I really appreciate that, Gav. Thank you very much. I adore you, and thank you to you guys for being here. I truly appreciate it, and without you I would not be here, so thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Can't believe it's been 6 years that I have been on this app doing this, talking to you about books and living out a dream I didn't even know I had until 6 years ago, which is pretty incredible, to be perfectly honest. And yeah, quite proud of how far we've come as a collective, how far we have come. I think we're doing a great job, and I'm very proud of us. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below. I am forever eternally grateful to you all, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye for now.